This session is for the new mentors that are going to take over the PRMP program for the next session. And if there is any query and if there is any question, you can unmute yourself or you can ask in the chat box. So for the introduction of our program, I'm pretty sure that most of you know about ISC. I'm pretty sure most of you know about the PRMP program. That is why you applied. And you, as a mentor, you are probably a medical student or a professional who has some sort of experience with research. So keeping that in mind, I might not be explaining everything. Since you guys are all mentors and you might know a lot of things already. So apart from that, PRMP is for giving the mentorship to the new researchers who have no experience and no understanding or know-how of what research is and how to do research and how to get a publication. And most of us here are from low middle income countries. Therefore, a lot of us never had that level of mentorship that we could have gotten in, let's say, a high income country or somewhere else in the developed world. So the goal of our program is to provide that level of mentorship to the students and to the undergraduate students who are basically new to this field. So we hope that we can provide each and every student that skill through which they can do their own research. So for the type of researches that have been done and that are undergoing in our previous programs, we have cross-sectional studies, we have observational studies. I would say these studies are somewhat very hard to do, considering that we are usually a multinational team. Whenever we're having teams of research, we have people from different countries pitching in. So there are a few observational and cross-sectional studies going on with which are sometimes also multidisciplinary. Sometimes they're also multinational and multi-center as well. Then we have letters to editor and short communications, which I'm pretty sure most of you know about them. And these are like the quickest and the easiest form of research that could be done within our program. Even out of the scope of our program, these are I would say some of the easiest publications that a student can have. And most of you know that in our CVs we need at least one publication. So I think letter to editors and short communications are a brilliant way to start about. However, if a person has, like, let's say 10 publications on their CV already, then I would be a little skeptical, because they don't need that the small researches. They would go ahead with observational, cross-sectional, and the systematic reviews, etc. So it really depends on your understanding of research. It depends on the type of expertise that you have, the researches that you have done already. If you have done cross-sectionals, if you have done observationals, you can obviously guide others through it as well. But if you've been a part of letters to editor, you have done short communication, and obviously you can easily guide your mentees to do those as well. We also have systematic reviews and meta-analysis. Like, this is my personal favorite, because this comes at the top of the hierarchy of evidence. And the systematic reviews and meta-analysis can be done easily. They can be done through multinational collaborations, and they have the highest level of evidence giving to the scientific literature. Apart from that, we also sometimes we just see there are some conferences coming up, and we do small researches just to get to the abstract, and we can present them as papers or the posters. And even apart from that, we will have our researches going on. So whenever there's some sort of a conference coming up, we can always submit our abstract to present at the conference. So the reason to explain the type of publications is that one, you need to choose the type of publication that you will be leading to your group. to your mentees. You're going to guide them through that publication, and hopefully by the end of program, your mentees should be able to conduct their own research in that specific type of publication as well. They should know that. Also, it is not necessary to do just one type of publication, just one type of research. We have a lot of groups which have done cross sectionals, and they have submitted letters to editor. My group has done a systematic review, and we have presented our paper into conferences. And so, like for example, if you're doing a systematic review, you can also do a letter to editor side by side. Or let's say if you're done with the systematic review or the cross-sectional before your deadline, you can always start another research as well. So what will be your role in conducting that paper, in guiding your mentees? The your main task is to lead the entire group and come up with a publication in a good PubMed index journal. So how will you do that? That entirely depends on your mode of teaching. How will you be teaching them? How will you be communicating with them? Personally speaking, I think meetings are very important. You will be communicating to them through our WhatsApp groups for each team individually. But if you can meet them on Zoom, if you can meet them otherwise on Google Meet or whatever is feasible for you, that just somewhat increases their seriousness towards the role they're given. Then by the end of the program, you should make sure that your mentees are able to know the basics of medical research, that what types of studies are done, what is their role in scientific literature, and how exactly different types of studies are performed. They should know about the quantitative research methodology specifically, and they should be able. Now this isn't for everyone, but like a lot of people do not understand how to read a research paper properly, how to analyze it properly. So the first step before starting your own project is to make them understand what research is, how is it conducted, and how exactly do we go through this scientific literature, that is the literature search. Then once you're done, you obviously should tell your mentees about scientific writing. I'm pretty sure all of you as mentors have done somewhat of manuscript writing, and you all know that there is a difference between normal writing, a report writing. There's a difference in that, and there's a difference in scientific writing. We have a lot of differences in that. We have a lot of courses on that as well. They're openly available courses that you can reference and you can ask your mentees to go through. You should also tell them about reference management. Now, a lot of people have different views on reference management and different methods of doing that. Some people do that without any reference management software. They do it manually. I would never recommend doing that because it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, and then it just makes it harder. So I would recommend reference management softwares like EndNote, like Zotero, like Mentally. And then again, it's your personal choice. Whatever software you have used, and you can guide your mentees through that. For a recommendation, I would recommend you to guide your mentees through Zotero or Mentally, because EndNote isn't publicly available. It's not free. It's a paid software, and Zotero and Mentally are not paid. Simultaneously, like for example, if you're doing a meta-analysis, I would recommend you to guide them through RevMan instead of Stata and something like that, because I would always recommend free resources that are easily available, and that would be easily available for every form of person that you're teaching. EndNote, Stata, SPSS aren't always available for everyone. Then we have the basic qualitative and quantitative analysis. Now, I don't mean statistical analysis. I also mean that going through the papers and understanding that what is the important finding in that, and analyzing them qualitatively, like what is the quality of this paper. And then quantitative analysis, obviously the statistical analysis. If anyone has any problem with statistical analysis, and a lot of us are students here as well. So we also have a biostatistician from ISCI. So we would help you with the quantitative analysis as well whenever you have any questions. So as a mentor, there are a few things that you need to keep in mind. That your mentees are not always going to be of the same level. There might be a mentee who doesn't even know the art of research. He or she doesn't know what exactly is medical research. Why is it important? Why should I be doing research? But there are people who have never even written a basic or even read a basic paper. And there will be mentees who might just have more skills than you. And they might know a lot of things. They have done papers previously, they have published papers. So it doesn't matter what level of your mentees is, because you need to guide each and every one of them. Just because one of your mentees doesn't know one specific thing and everybody else does, you need to guide that one specific mentee as well. And keeping in mind the expertise of others as well. Sometimes maybe you need to keep individual sessions for one or two mentees only, but that might be a little problem. But then you just need to make sure by the end, every one of your mentee knows what they did, and they all have a publication and they have something to put on their CVs as well. Another thing to keep in mind is the deadlines, not just set by ISCI and PRMP program, but the deadlines that you give to your mentees as well. Now, we as ISCI, we have a deadline for your project to finish, just so that we can get it published, and that's about it, right? But the smaller deadlines, like a monthly or a weekly or even a daily deadline for specific projects, is something that you will be giving to your mentees, and it's up to you to decide what kind of deadlines do you want to give. It's also up to you to tell them to assign them tasks according to their expertise, and then assess that how much time would it take for them, and how much time should I give to them. Deadlines are always important, considering that when you have a deadline in mind, that you or any of your mentee has a deadline in mind, they would probably do that task even in the last moment, but they would probably try to do and complete that task. Once they don't have a deadline, it might get delayed for a pretty long time. Then so I'm coming to that. What if mentees don't follow deadlines? Now that's a challenge. That what if they're not following deadlines? Now every mentee wouldn't be the same. Again, if they're not following the deadlines, you should ask them. You should point them out. You should give them more time, and then ask if there's any other problem they're facing. If they're not following the deadlines because of let's say they don't know anything, just make sure that you tell them what is going on. And even if they understand everything, they know how to do it, they are still not doing it, and they're not facing any problem in their personal lives, and they're still not doing it, then you should report to your regional project head, because that is the last option that you should have. Firstly, you should try to manage it yourself. Just ask if they know what to do, and then ask if they can do it. Then ask if they are having any problems in their personal or professional life, or there's any other work they're busy in. And even after all of that, after extending that deadline, they're still not doing it, then you report to your regional head. Then, just a second. Yeah, so as it is added that after 3 warnings, mentors and program leaders can decide whether to remove them or not. I have personally removed one person from my group, and even though I have faced this, all of the mentors will face something like that. Something like non-responding mentees. I'll come to that later. Next, we have teaching styles. I used to make presentations. There are some people who show by practical application. Like, for example, if you want to teach them reference management, you would show them after doing that. And there are some people who would make presentations and then show them, and some people would only guide them through text. That is entirely on you. That is entirely your way of teaching. and you need to understand your own style. And there is one thing that I forgot to add here is that always take reviews from your mentees. Ask them how you're doing. Ask them if they don't understand, or if they want any change in the teaching style, if they want any change in whatever is happening, or if they have any confusion. The reviews that your mentees are going to give you are the ones that are going to enhance you as a good mentor. So you need to adapt accordingly for that. So apart from that, you need, if your mentees have any question, just make sure you always answer. But if you have any question, if you have any query or confusion, you should always refer to your regional project heads. Sometimes it's okay not to know about some things. Like, we are not all experts in every single field. There are sometimes you will face problems in the clinical aspect. For example, you don't understand one specific type of disease, one type of treatment modality. There will be problems when you will be facing, for example, in statistical analysis, in some sort of technical issue you're having. You might have that. But even if you're a mentor, you should always ask, you should always consult your seniors. Next, we have the challenges that we can face, and the first challenge was non-serious mentees. See, non-serious mentees are basically those who are maybe not attending the meetings that we're having, we're not replying on WhatsApp, or even if they're attending meetings and replying, they do not finish their task giving to them. So the first step you should go is personally talk to them, ask them what is going on, ask them if they want any questions, they have any problems. If there are any problems that you can personally solve, you should go ahead. If there's anything that you think your seniors can solve, you should consult your seniors. And if there is something going on, for example, they're having their exams, this is going to happen a lot. Your mentees are having their exams, your mentees are busy in something else. You should understand that maybe this person is not available right now, and I should assign this to another person. But this shouldn't stay forever. This might, ask them when their exams are ending, ask them when their personal commitments are going to end, ask them and go accordingly. If there is someone who is not entirely doing anything, not giving a reason, not having a reason, or have a reason since forever, there will be 3 warnings, and then it's your choice whether to keep them as a mentee or not. And then you should report to your senior accordingly. Then attendance in meetings is one thing that your mentees might be having, might not be having. It is important to take attendance just to keep, because we have this nomination of the best mentee at the end. So attendance also counts. You should make sure you have an attendance, and the challenge may be that your mentees are not attending meetings. Then again, the same steps as non-serious mentees. Then time zone differences are there, because since we're in multinational, we're all multinational from different ethnicities, we're from different nations, we're from different countries. We will have time zone differences. So just make sure whenever you're scheduling a meeting or giving a deadline, just make sure you keep the time zone differences in your mind. Then another challenge might be finding the perfect research question, because it is, I would say, one of the biggest tasks in conducting the research is to find the perfect research question. And maybe at this level, at the initial level, most of us never had a research question in mind. So you just need to, firstly, you need to guide your mentees about the type of research you're doing, and then the questions that you can come up with. I would recommend using the funnel way. Just make sure, firstly, you should make sure you have a broader topic in mind, and then from the broader topic, you can cut down the broadness and then narrow it down to the research question, whatever you have. And then literature search will always guide you about the gaps in literature. Then you might have challenges in statistical analysis, for which there's always a biostatistician available. You should always consult your seniors and ask them if you have any problems with the analysis. So with that, I am done. If you have any questions from me, please unmute yourself or write them in the chat box.
Hi, Rabeet. This is Zoha. Am I audible?
Sorry, Zoha, you're not audible.
Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Hello. Am I audible, Rabeet?
Yeah, Zoha, you're audible. Please ask whatever you want to.
Okay. So my question is, yesterday I took the first session with my mentees, and one of the things which was regarding if we are doing a systematic review and we come up with a lot of studies. So one of the mentees asked, that how do we know that another systematic review has already not been done on this? So what I
Okay.
replied to him was, uh, I tried in a desk capacity to answer it. I just want to know, are there any other ways that I could have answered it? One is that while we are searching for the articles on PubMed, on the side pane there is there are options like what kind of articles we wish to look for. One of it is you want to look for systematic reviews, you want to look for um, uh, trials, you want to look for RCTs. There is a kind of a filter where we can mark the systematic review, and then we can check if already systematic reviews are available on that. Another thing that can be done is like if we see that what are the kind of systematic reviews are available, from that we can also make out like if something has been done in a particular region, already has been done, and we are not repeating it in the same region, then of course uh, a new systematic review in whatever area we are expecting to do it, it can be carried. So it will actually depend on our search that what literature is available, how well or otherwise can it be answered.
So that's basically you basically guided your mentee about uh, how to find the gaps in literature for systematic reviews and how to know that if a systematic review has already been conducted or not. Just adding to what you told your mentee, you should also search on Prospero. Prospero is a website where you register your systematic reviews. So you should also search over there because there are sometimes systematic reviews that are being conducted. They're not published, but they're being conducted. So they're often registered on Prospero, and you can search there as well. If, for example, somebody has started working on it already before. Also, Zoha, I didn't understand what you had to ask me. Is there something specific that you had to ask me?
I just actually wanted to verify what I said, was it right, or is there some thing that can be added to it, or like what
Yeah.
exactly
Okay.
could have been?
Yeah, perfect. So as I just said, that you should just search Prospero for that, and rest, PubMed. You guided them perfectly. That you should search on PubMed. You should search for the gaps in literature within the literature itself. Yeah.
And one more thing, like uh, what I have basically learned from senior teachers, they say that
Sorry.
hello.
Yeah.
One of the things is that what a senior research person has told me, that for a systematic review you have a team, and a team comprises of a subject topic expert, a methodology expert. That is a gold standard kind of a team, and you have the research assistants in that. So when you have a topic expert, subject topic expert, that person is himself or herself so much into reading, and they already know what the lacunas are in the current area or the domain which we are trying to do a systematic review in, that they will be in a better position to guide. So should a systematic review be done on that? Is that completely true? Because we all as beginners are not any subject topic experts. Surely we do have uh, a base in some of the domains.
Okay. So the thing about systematic reviews or research in general is that it's always recommended that you should have one person who is expert in the respective fields. That is always recommended, but that isn't always applied. When you're giving enough literature evidence from the scientific literature, when you're giving enough evidence that to prove that what you're saying or what you're proving is correct, if when you're following the entire guidelines, like for example for systematic reviews you will have prisma guidelines. So if you're following the prisma guidelines, nobody is going to ask you whether a person is an expert in the specific field or not. So yeah, it is always recommended, but it's not necessary. No journal will ever ask you whether there is an expert on this specific field or not.
Okay, okay. So repeat that answer perfectly. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, so there is this question in the chat box about after our work is done, will PRMP be publishing our research? And I'm pretty sure that this is already answered. PRMP is not we do not have journals as per se. We do not have any publication authority. So it's always recommended that you send your work to a good PubMed index journal. And then for payment, the thing about submitting your work to a journal is that you don't have to pay always. If you and your team can pay, that's cool. But it's for there are three options. The first option is that you want open access, and the journal is not giving you any waiver of the fees, or it's not giving you any discount. So you pay the entire fees and put your article as an open access article. The second option is that you email or you apply for a grant or any funding or any waiver from the journal itself. A lot of journals, you tell the journal that we are from developing countries, we're from low middle income countries. You email their editors or you apply for a program and they waive off the fees or they give you some discount. And the third option is that you don't go for open access. Your article will not be open access. That is, your article's abstract will only be available to the public, but your article will be available online. It will be published just for the subscribers of the journal or the ones who buy the specific article. So it's not necessary. It's not really necessary to pay for publication.
Hello, I got one question.
Yeah.
Was there in any step of suppose I'm doing the systematic review, in any step, if I don't know or I get confused, whom should I consult, or is there any just divided group on the basis of that you would monitor this group mentors or that?
Yeah. Okay. So there are your mentees. Mentees don't have any problem. They consult you, your mentor. You have any problem, you go for your regional project head. Regional project heads are basically, I'm pretty sure you will be assigned to a specific regional project head who will be probably solving. Now that person, your regional project head, will be taking your problem further. If it's any problem, then they will be resolving it with the national project head or with the main major team, with the executive team as well. So if you have any problem, you go to your regional project head, and every mentor has a different project head. So I don't know who your project head is, but you should always consult him or her.
Okay.
And I just read that where ISCI is right now in the process of assigning regional project heads. So you will be told that who your regional project head is and who you should consult in the way. Are there any other questions?